Hello, Algebra 2. This is domain and range. So you may remember from Algebra 1, the set of all x values is called the domain. And the set of all y values is called the range. So we can look at some examples of domain and range on this page, and then we'll turn it and try some yourself. So the domain is your x values. So you read the graph from the left to the right, and you look for the first x value, -2, and the last x value, 4. Because these dots are filled in, we are including those points, and so the square brackets are used to show including those points. If you have a hard time separating out the x value of a point, -2, from its y value, 3, it could be helpful to just write the coordinates of the points, -2, -3, and over here, 4, 0. And that will help you focus on, for the domain, we need the x's, smallest x to biggest x, and for the range, we need the y's, smallest y to biggest y. And then remember, everything that we write in interval notation can also be written in set notation, and set notation is also called inequality notation. Okay. For the next graph here, I can see my domain starts at my smallest x value, 2, but it keeps going to the right forever, and it goes to 7, but it keeps going because of these arrows, 8, 9, 10, etc. It keeps going till infinity. So my domain starts at 2 and goes to infinity. Remember to put a square bracket on the 2 to include it, but since you can never actually get to infinity, we use parentheses on that. For the range, these arrows are going to the right, but this one is also going down to -infinity, and this one's also going up to positive infinity. So my range is -infinity to positive infinity, and I can write that as all real numbers. And then for the domain, from 2 to infinity, well, those would be all the x values greater than or equal to 2. So on the back, you should pause the video before you watch how to do it, but before you pause, you can read or hear the introduction. So these are like a word bank of domains in interval notation and set notation, and then ranges in interval notation and set notation. So if you feel stuck, you can check the word bank and see if that helps you out. For the first one, my domain, this is where you should pause if you haven't already tried these. Try them first. My domain starts at x equals 1, and it continues until it ends here at x equals 4. So my domain is all of the numbers from 1 to 4, and I can see up here the square brackets will include the endpoints. To write this in set or inequality notation, I have this one here, which means x is bigger than or equal to 1 and less than or equal to 4. So x is between these two numbers, 1 and 4. For the range, starts at the bottom. My smallest y value is -3, and it goes up to the top where my biggest y value is +3. So -3 to +3, and include them with the square brackets. And then you can also write that in inequality notation. The y is between -3 and +3. Okay, and I can cross these off, and I can cross these off. All right, next one. My x's go all the way to the left and all the way to the right. On the left is -infinity, and on the right is positive infinity. So my x, my domain, -infinity to infinity. Looking at my choices here for set notation, I could write all real numbers. So x is an element of all real numbers. All right, for my range does have a starting point. My smallest y value is here at -4, and it keeps going up, 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 and those arrows keep going up to infinity. So I'm starting at -4 and I'm going to infinity. I want to include -4 with a square bracket, and I cannot get to infinity, so always put a parenthesis on infinity. Looking at my choices here for range, here's the y values that are greater than or equal to -4. All right, the next one is actually a very similar graph because it goes all the way to the left and it goes all the way to the right. So on the left we have negative infinity and on the right we have positive infinity. So negative infinity, comma, infinity. And x is an element of all real numbers, just like the previous one. All right, for this one, I start here, and it's really easy to get the wrong number here because I'm looking at that -4, but remember -4 is the x value. For range, what I want is the y value, and the y value is 0. So I have to start at 0, and then I go all the way up to positive infinity. I want to include the 0, and I cannot include infinity. So I'm looking at my choices here. Y is greater than or equal to 0 would match 0 to infinity. All right, and then let's do this last one. So I start all the way over here on the left for my domain at negative infinity, and then my domain keeps going until I get here to 3. So negative infinity up until 3. And then for my range, these are going down, this one's going up, so this is going all the way down to negative infinity, and this one's going all the way up to positive infinity. And then of course I need to match these. So this one is going to match with x's less than or equal to 3. And this one is going to match with all real numbers. Y is an element of all real numbers.